There was little worse than being forced to sit blind, deaf, and dumb in the passenger's cabin, while pilots less competent than himself fumble-fingered their way through their job. The little transport might look like a luxury model from the inside with high-end fittings, comfortable seats, and plenty of leg and shoulder room, not to mention he was the only passenger in the 8-seat cabin. But what mattered right now was the contents of the engine compartment and the cockpit, and neither one seemed up to his standards. Matteo Sennett muttered his exhaustive list of expletives under his breath, recited in alphabetical order, a solid way to keep his mind off the raiders breathing down their necks. Abaddon's gates, nameless maze wanderer, arrogant soul catches us. His module, not the cockpit, they were as tight-lipped as Roke the Arch-Key Minder about everything, warned him that the ship had entered that swath of space between Thera and Dextra that hovered outside the jurisdiction of both, the most dangerous place in the Kayavan system. Smarter pilots would have avoided this region, instead flying in Lyton's shadow as it circled the twin planets. But no, this crew had something to prove, though only the key minder knew what it might be. For the love of life and limb. Yes, it was a longer path. Yes, Lyton's defenses were primitive compared to Theran and Dextran technologies. But primitive defenses were still better than being exposed in a father-forsaken, poorly shielded, unarmed ship. For the love of life and limb. Father-forsaken. Those set his expletives out of order. He'd have to start over. That, or storm the cockpit and take over flying himself. But he wasn't qualified for this model, and wouldn't be able to do much, even if he took the pilot seat. That was probably intentional. Cracking, splintering shards. Also out of order. The emergency klaxon shrieked, like it had at graduation. Uncle Artane waited in line, near the entrance to the amphitheater, brushing dust off the sleeve of his dark suit. He was implying he was surrounded by substandard company. Matteo in his formal all-black cadet uniform, the last time he would wear it, stepped up to escort Artane to his seat. "I do not understand the meaning of this demonstration," Artane grumbled. "It is a show of honor to our patriarchs, or those who are standing in for them. Don't go on about that. Father could not clear his calendar to be here. By all rights, Roxton Academy's administration should have rescheduled for him. Here is your seat, Uncle. I will see you after the ceremony." Matteo proceeded to the seating reserved for the graduating cadets, to the space reserved for the top graduate. At one time, he dreamt of Grandfather seeing him in this place, giving the valedictory address. But Grandfather couldn't be bothered. His absence did not diminish Matteo's accomplishments, or so he would tell himself until he believed it. Roxton Academy's headmaster called the audience to order. Klaxons blared. Blasts of weapons fire bombarded the station. Screaming. So much screaming. Chaos. "Raiders have been sighted. Take emergency precautions." An artificial voice droned through the cabin speakers, the kind of voice that made him wonder if there were actual flesh-and-blood pilots in the cockpit. Matteo fastened his emergency straps as the cabin lights dimmed and an oxy mask and blanket dropped into his lap from an overhead compartment, exactly like the ones they'd used at graduation. Matteo mustered cadet teams for their emergency assignments, getting non-essential personnel to the safe rooms at the heart of the station. They dispersed through the terrified sea of visitors. Power failed, and emergency lighting and life support kicked in. Dark, cold, heart-pounding, hard to breathe. Still had a job to do. His team gathered their charges and wrangled them to the safe room, where oxy masks and blankets helped relieve their most immediate needs. Too many visitors packed into the safe room. No other choice.